inside Parliament to allow Parliament to clean itself.
At what cost?
So we should start asking ourselves,
at what cost?
Why are those early warning signals obliterated? What happened to the Auditor General? What happened to the Public Accounts Committee?
The Auditor General is an office of Parliament. How do you expect an office of Parliament to be able to...
In fact, the person who should be summoned to CID first, even before the Speaker, is the Auditor General. Because you are the watchman of the watchmen. That should be first. The order should be different.
It is the watchmen who are paying the watchman.
Yes, but you are to watch the institution of Parliament. Because now we are stressing the President to the extent that the President is now appointing individuals like Tumusime to be the Director of Budget. Because the institutions have what? Have given way. What has the Auditor General done? Because it has to watch Parliament. What has the National Planning Authority done? Because they have to give a certificate before any expenditure. So there are other institutions, there are other safety nets which we put to protect that institution of Parliament. All the safety nets have given way. Actually, the Auditor General should resign. Because they allowed the Ugandan out down there in Kashari, the Ugandan down there in Pade does not understand these things. We put institutions to check itself from any turbulence. What happened to all those institutions that today we are where we are? So to me, Anita is not the problem. Anita is how the problem is manifesting itself. The problem is that the institutions have collapsed.
Right. Joseph, do you agree that institutions are supposed to check themselves, or by the nature of how the law is, they're being given too much power, and therefore individuals take advantage of that?
No, institutions and institutions, they work, they function, and they should be functioning independently. Arms of government, in this case Parliament, in terms of their roles, I see these days speakers make donations. I can't remember the last independent Parliament where a speaker would make donations. I remember myself sending, including a small note to a Westminster speaker, and they will declare, and they will tell you that they're going to, put it, it's declared and take it to the library. Yeah, they declare and take it to the library, and you go.
Repeat what you just said.
A speaker of a British Parliament, which is the nearest Parliament to us. In fact, really nothing changed except this element of having constitutionally changing, having a directly elected president. In which case, then we had some kind of mini hybrid. But away from the executive, our Parliament is nearly almost 100% Westminster style. And so that's why I'm saying that you expect the Speaker to behave and conduct themselves in a particular way. But I'm also telling you that I know the last Mr. Speaker of UPC, 1980 to 85, and I also know the last clerk to Parliament, because I've seen some things playing around the clerk to Parliament. Anthony, that clerk to Parliament happens also to be a Tororian and is 90 plus, an absolutely fantastic old civil servant. I don't know how you could mix his name in the business of this very apparent budget theft. These things have been happening, and happening as my brother Otto is saying, you don't have to wait for the executive. Some of the things that actually happened in Parliament that all of us, the general public, saw. Where is the police? All the things that actually happened. Where is, as I said, the Auditor General? When some of these things were happening, what was the role of the Clerk to Parliament? And when all of these things are happening, where is the executive? And maybe where you guys, the fourth estate? Once an issue has been raised about a speaker or a member of Parliament, I mean, look at the Mabati case. Look at the Mabati case. So whom do we hold responsible? Nearly half of Mr. Museveni's cabinet implicated. What did they do? Poor Agnes Nandutu, because she used to do me point blank. Maybe she's now the only person who's facing Luzira, but partly maybe because of some of the noises some of us, and including yourselves, make. So no, Uganda has been taken over, as Odonga is saying, and we seem to be we seem to be treated almost as if we are properties of certain individuals or a group. I just want to say this because I'm going to be rushing out, so don't forget that Oboth is my neighbor, so now I'm one of the most desired elements in the country. But look, this country needs a reset. If part of what is happening at the moment is a realization by Mr. Museveni that the impunity that he's exercised, that the animals that he created are becoming too amorphous, and that possibly he needs to be able to deal among and check and present an element of a transition of sorts. Whatever the motivations, he needs to do it properly, and he needs to do so in such a manner that he allows the Akols of this world to have a right to put their hands, they put their names forward, allow their calls to determine who becomes their speaker, and begin with a process in which...
There is a missing point. There is a gap. I don't think anybody has been stopped from standing as Speaker of Parliament in Uganda. What is happening is an internal arrangement under NRM party. But by all means, on 25th, the members of Parliament will vote for a Speaker. Where we are having a challenge is because the majority of the voters are NRM.
Is Banyoro contesting? If it is about internal arrangements of NRM.
But because you will remember very well here, as we talk, in the last Parliament, even at the time when the NRM as a party decided that the late Jacob Olanya will be the Speaker, candidate for speakership, under NRM, Kadaga, who was not picked, Rebecca Kadaga, Right Honorable, again came and contested. She was not stopped. So I think that's a missing point. We are talking as if it has been decided that nobody is going to stand. There will be no election on 25th. No, there will be election. What matters is now the internal arrangement of NRM.
I think what Odonga and I are saying is that whatever happens, what has been happening in the last 1 week is comedy, and is actually a very clear, almost an abuse of the due process, including abuse of the citizenry. Because the more you present it that MPs are basically figures and numbers to go and do your bidding, you're effectively telling the citizens of this country that they wasted their time voting for members of Parliament, because whatever they're going to be doing, in this case, starting with electing the person who's supposed to check the executive, is going to be determined.
You might call it comedy, but this is how power is actually shifting.
No, of course, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm making a point. Of course, it's not comedy. I'm simply saying that, well, if you consider how it's going on, whatever's happening the last few days, the CDF says we have, and then moments and minutes later it says we've withdrawn, and then moments later you will not be. Akol may have his own view, but I'm not quite sure how many of the emerging young members of Parliament who possibly spotted Akol as a potential a speaker and wanted to have a conversation with him to ask him to put his name, they'll be thinking, let alone an average citizen of Uganda, maybe from West Budama, East to West, considering that their candidate Odonga should be the next Speaker of Parliament. No, I think it's basically an abuse of the due process.
The people who are elected are those who are sworn in. I'm giving an example, and
you
should give example of people who are potential candidates.
No, but a potential candidate is Jacob. Look, a potential candidate is Jacob Oboth.
Yes.
Is a fantastic guy.
Okay, so you've also already succumbed to the fact that the potential candidates has already been identified. When we
his name brought forward, and yes,
that's what I'm saying. That the powers that be have already brought that name, and you've already succumbed to the fact that he's the potential candidate.
No, I'm saying one of the potential candidates was the name is being flouted. I've not spoken to Jacob about this, but is the name being flouted? Nobody Mao.
Well, I have. His body language told me that he knew about all this, even though in the interview he was saying that he has no idea what's happening on social media.
Actually, Oboth has been a speaker candidate even during Kadaga's time.
That's right. Yes.
So many people are behaving like he's lucky, he's picked from nowhere, from the Shambas. No. Actually, they even had a tete-a-tete with Kadaga, because Kadaga was seeing him as someone, as the potential.
And he did the same with Jacob Olanya.
He has been on the queue. The traffic, the green light has just been released. He has been on the queue for long. So he's not that innocent the way he's presenting his interview. Actually, that interview is the first dishonesty he is exhibiting. He has been on the queue.
Actually, in one of the talk shows we had here, I made a statement and said, some people are coming up to be speakership because they want to be noticed for some other appointment. And I gave examples that in the last elections, Jacob Oboth Honorable was a candidate and he was appointed Minister of Defense. So, if his name is appearing, he can be one of the candidates to to be picked by the NRM Central Executive Committee, presented to the NRM caucus. That is a process that is not yet done.
Why not suggested? Why do you call it picking? Because I still want to insist, Parliament should be able to determine who the leader is.
Because that's the
That
reality.
is what I'm telling you.
That is the reality.
That
Oh, the reality, okay.
The process is long. At this point, it is the Central Executive Committee of NRM doing the internal process
Then recommend.
of recommending a candidate
Okay.
who will be again presented to the caucus, NRM caucus. After that candidate, together with many others that will again come on 25th on the floor of Parliament for elections. So the process is not yet done.
No, you are new in the NRM. You don't know. You know, when you're a visitor, you first have to relax. No, yeah,
nice,
please, you first relax.
I even gave him the last election what happened. That there were two candidates at the NRM caucus, but all the two came on the floor of Parliament,
Akol,
and they were voted.
there are some people, the four powerful people have already zeroed for both.
Yeah.
So what remains is to push it through the throat of the SEC and the throat of the caucus.
Honorable Otto,
Yeah.
I think that to be fair to Honorable Akol is that he understands how these things are done, just that he's playing safe. He's playing
Akol, we
safe.
were in a position with him, we were in walk to work, we used to put on blue. He has just joined the NRM.
I like it. He's
And we were.
So,
he's the last born. So you don't know how these things are done. Go slow.
No problem. Whatever statement you are saying.
Yeah. But
the
congratulations
fact of the matter
anyway.
is, I am NRM. The other time Honorable Odonga was complaining that I should be putting on yellow. Now I'm in yellow, he's still complaining. I don't know what he wants.
By the way, on a lighter note, I was analyzing from a political science perspective that if I'd crossed to the NRM, probably I would have been in Parliament because they would have also rigged for me.
No.
And if Akol and Mapenduzi had not crossed to NRM, they would have also lost like me. So I've been evaluating this thing.
Honorable Dongato, I have never had any case against me, and there is nothing like rigging elections.
Okay.
My election was very clear. I won with 3,155.
And when they were
votes.
looking for you to serve you court papers for the recount, you disappeared.
When? Nobody has brought any paper on me.
For the recount.
Never.
Okay.
No recount.
We'll get to that in a bit. Joseph, before you go, I wanted to ask you to comment about the arrest of Justine Namere.
That is actually extraordinary. This is part of what.
This is a whole elected member of parliament who threw her weight behind the Speaker of Parliament today, Anita Mong, and it is confirmed, at least from security, that she was arrested last evening.
You know, part of my boring commentaries is giving historical context. The Parliament of 1980 to 85 was a parliament that was after Idi Amin, and a parliament that operated where the leader of the opposition had one leg in parliament and another leg in the bush. That parliament had NRA guys throwing bombs and grenades, particularly along Bombo Road, and targeting particular communities in Kampala. At no time did I see, or can you talk about a member of parliament being treated the manner in which legislators have been lately been treated. But for young Namere, the fact that she was actually dancing the other day, and then this event happened yesterday, including the manner in which it was done, I think it's unacceptable. Whatever the case, I think I expect that if I have issues, I expect if Odonga has issues, I expect if Anthony Akol has issues, I expect that if you have issues, the police should actually give you a call and ask you to turn up and go and make a statement. But this business of being picked as if you're a criminal, like these other ones in like the way people would have wanted to pick Museveni somewhere in Semuto those days. It's very unparliamentarian. I think it's an abuse to the due process. And in any case, I think credit to Rebecca Kadaga. I'm sure my brother Jacob was almost going to be doing that. Whatever happens, Kadaga would at least attempt to protest, about this. But I think it's the four arms of power working that Namere the other day was praising Anita, and as I understand it, I don't have some information, but I'm told that she was already being lined up as as a deputy responsible for making it happen on behalf of Anita. But how things happen in this country, Odonga will tell you that one day in Parliament, in politics, is a very long day. It's happening in the Republic of Uganda. That Namere was the other day dancing and shining and looking to be the next power girl, but now she's behind bars. It worries me as a country. It worries me even about the kind of conversation that we're having. That I think this conversation we need to be able to have for a day in order for us to narrow ourselves down, because we talk about this country. And that's why I was telling you that I really hope that if Mr. Museveni, at his age, and after 40 years where he should be standing with humility and maybe even checking his family and then saying that as a country, we need to be able to make sure that we leave this country in the hands of decent younger people like the Akols to be able to guarantee spaces for our children and children's children. They need to begin to act in a much more respectful, civil way and respect institutions, respect systems, respect citizens of this country. But I think what is happening is a confirmation that you need to know where power is, as Odonga says, and power unfortunately still lies in the hands of a few individuals. And I think
so eventually you've come to the reality,
like Bakenyi did, and then like Mbabazi did, and then like Kaihura did. It may be happening soon, seemingly with Anita Mong, and whoever takes on from there, they should learn these lessons.